Good evening, Dr. Chandrashekar. We are delighted and honored to welcome you on our fifth episode of Passion Talks with Kanchan Sonik. To the world, he is Dr. Chandra. For me, and for Toastmasters in the community, he is well known as CSK. Well, you think, why is he here? Oh, there are enough and more reasons to tell you why he is here. First and foremost, if my journey of Toastmasters have started, it is only started after listening to his speech in January 2017, which I still remember, word to word, that transformed me completely. And here, this passionate journey will transform many more lives today on this live session. When I talk about Chandra, he has 20 plus experience, 20 plus years of experience in the education industry. When I was in school, I think Chandra was already working. And he has transformed the journey of education to a lot of people. The industry has gone through a lot of changes, transformations, and I would like to hear from him a lot about it. To all of you, he has been ranked as number 7 when it comes to the Educational One ranking of the 33 young rising stars of Indian education in March 2017. There are many more accolades. To tell you all, Chandra is serving as the CEO of the Jain International Group, the JGI School, and he is a Rex Karmaveer Global Education Chain Champion Fellow of 2019. If I talk about him, 1 hour would be less. However, let's congratulate him with the applaud and a loud round. Thank you, Chandra, for taking that valuable time. Over to you.
Thank you so much and good evening, Kanchan. Very few people have the ability to make the opposite person young and old at the same time. You are one of them. When you said you were in school when I started working, I felt a little old. But at the same time, when you said that I'm with children, transforming them, education sector, I feel that yes, I have still not yet scratched the surface.
Thank you, Chandra. Chandra, I have seen you transforming in the last 6 years, but let's go back and start from very small. So a lot of people know you from last 20 years because you are in the industry. A lot of people know you in the Toastmasters journey of your last 8 to 10 years. But let's start from very scratch. When Chandra was, say, a toddler or 3 to 4 years, what Chandra really wanted to do?
Well, all I wanted to do, if I remember right, was to eat and sleep and nothing much because I don't remember. And coming up from in an, I can say, a normal, humble, middle class kind of a background, or even I can use the word low middle class, I can say, because today, the world in which we live, middle class is quite affluent and quite forward. So coming from there, I think never nurtured very, very high and big dreams. I wanted to just have my share of peace in my life. But yeah, as I grew, as I kind of moved on from as a toddler to maybe elementary or primary school, life got a little more complicated where you start comparing yourself with maybe neighbors, siblings, cousins, and a lot of things. And then I think around grade 4 is when I had this conscious question which was faced, that what do I want to become? And I think it was a fancy dress competition, I remember, where I kind of dressed up like a medical representative. I still remember I kind of got dressed as a medical rep. Those days, you have those medical representatives with a tie, a blue shirt, and a briefcase going in clinic after clinic. And I was growing up with a family of doctors, so that was the reason why I chose a medical representative. So I dressed up and I went to school as a medical rep, carrying my father's briefcase. That is one thing which I really, really remember. Eventually, of course, a lot of things crossed my head. I was very clear about what I don't want to become. One was engineer. I never wanted to get into engineering. I don't know for what reason. Don't have any problems with that profession, but I did not kind of resonate with that. Medicine was one thing because, as I said, I grew up with a family of doctors. So my dad, he's not a doctor, but he wanted me to become a doctor. So that was one influence. bureaucracy. That is, my dad is a government servant, so I wanted to give my shot to IAS and administrative services, which I never did. But then that was one thing. So I was like any other average kid, jumbled up with a lot of options, but finally I ended up landing in education, and I'm happy about it. No regrets.
Okay. Thank you, Chandra, for sharing that part of the world which I never knew. And I'm going to ask many more questions which I don't know and the world doesn't know. Wanted to also ask you about, Chandra, a little about your family. So you said your dad was a
Yeah,
government.
so we are basically from Bangalore. So I am a born Bangalorean, born and raised there. I lived majority of my life up to around 20, 21 years in Bangalore, and then been out of Bangalore for work reasons. But going back to family, yeah, dad is a was a government servant. He's retired now, but he was in the public transport, urban public transport. All his career, he has given it to them, and retired from the same organization, which is known as the Bangalore Metropolitan Transport Corporation. He was a chief manager for MIS and a divisional commissioner level kind of a person there by the time he retired. Mom is a homemaker, and I am one son. And then we are a big family of cousins and relatives. Just to give you an idea, my family, I think cousins, we are around 19 or 20 cousins growing up together. So that's my family in Bangalore.
Okay, great. And you did say about your school. So where did your schooling happen and how did that
Since
schooling part,
Yeah.
transform you?
So predominantly it was Bangalore. I can say 75% of it is Bangalore, or even 80%, but 20% because dad was in a transferable job, at least in the early stages of his career. I did go out of Bangalore as well for studies. But if you look at it, my high school and then senior secondary and then college and undergrad, graduation, everything happened in Bangalore. So I went to Christ High School for my high school, and then I went to National College in Jainagar for my 11th and 12th, which is called as pre-university in Karnataka,
Mhm.
and undergraduation in Bangalore, as I said, and then eventually post-grad. But for post-graduation, I went to IIM at Lucknow. Yeah, that's my journey.
Thank you. Thank you, Chandra, for again taking us to different parts of Bangalore. The Bangalore you saw and you grew up to the Bangalore today, it is, I would say it is 360 or 720 degrees transformation.
Well, I better don't answer that because as a Bangalorean, I don't recognize it anymore. That much I can say because what it has transformed itself is unimaginable and unbelievable. I mean, I did read your Facebook post the other day where people came up to you for selfies because they took you for another person, Remo, if I'm not wrong. And incidentally, I know Remo personally because my aunt is a singer. She
Oh,
is my mom's sister. She's a singer in the Kannada film industry. And her very, very close friend, uh, Mangala, Mrs. Mangala, is Remo's mother.
oh, wow.
So,
The world is
so
small.
yeah, so that's how it is. In fact, when you did the post on Facebook, I was in Bangalore around that time. So I showed that post to my family because they all know you now. You are a part of the family as far as they are concerned. So they know you. They're like, yeah, actually, right. She looks very similar to Remo, but we did not kind of flash to us. But people are not wrong in recognizing her as an impersonation of Remo. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how it
Now
is.
I know how to connect to Remo. Now I know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So Bangalore has changed a lot, some for good reasons and not so good reasons, especially when it comes to the congestion, traffic,
Mhm,
garbage, and a lot of other civic issues.
mhm.
But I mean, you really can't blame Bangalore for it because the growth what it saw in the last 1 or 1.5 decades was unprecedented. People could not kind of comprehend as to that much pace will come in terms of growth and development in such a short span of time. So that's how it is. Of course, there are efforts being done to change Bangalore in terms of making it more friendly for users and commuters, but that's a long way to go. I still enjoy all my time in Bangalore. The Iyengar Bakery bread, the rusk and the coffee in the mornings, and the aloo bun or the palya bun, what we call I love it. And I don't know, Pune is quite famous for that, the Budde ki Bal kind of a analogy, but we have
Concept.
that Tim Tim Son Papdi. So the guy used to come in the cart
And
with a glass ball, like an
covered.
aquarium, and he had that Son Papdi, and he used to take a spoon and hit that glass ball. That's why the Tim 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 sound. So when
Oh,
he used to come in the next street, we used to start picking coins in every corner of the house and go to the compound, waiting for him to come to our street. So those were the Bangalore memories for me, and I relish them.
oh, very nice. That's something unheard of to a non-Bangalorean for sure.
Yeah.
Chandra, the teenagers, you work in this industry for 20 years, all the PTMs, all the parents come and say, these teenagers are not tolerable. These teenagers don't listen. How were you as a teenager, Chandra?
I think pretty much the same, right? My parents also would have said the same in their PTMs, that this fellow is quite notorious and intolerable, and whatever adjectives they could have gathered then, they would have used. But yes, being very frank and candid, I was quite a notorious kid. And as I said, predominantly because we grew up in a family of almost 17, 19 cousins. So we never got punished because we always used to escape the adults' eyes. So we were happy about it. But our kind of naughtiness was, I can say, with a lot of pride, that it was enjoyed by the family to some extent. Of course, we did had our share of brickbats, but I was quite naughty. I mean, an incident which I recollect is in my ninth standard, ninth grade. We locked up our Kannada teacher in the men's toilet in the school. I hope he's not listening, and I hope people don't connect with me on Facebook after watching this, because I see it streamed live on Facebook. But then we did lock him up, and it is till date the best kept secret. Only the gang of four of us friends know that, and that's one example about naughtiness.
Great, great to hear. I know what is going to happen when you walk into school tomorrow or maybe Monday.
Yeah.
The children would look up to if they see this live and say, you should be scolding them as well.
No, I mean, I have always kept that part of my life very transparent. I keep telling my principals, my coordinators, that the kids are naughty, the kids are, I can say, hyperactive. Those are the kids you need to watch out for, because they just need the channel to channelize that energy. They don't have any problems, they don't have any issues. Don't label them as backbenchers, or the naughty lot, or the people who need repair. Not that. But if they have hyperactive energy, those are the kids you need to channelize into the right direction. And I can vouch, without even seeing them, knowing them, that they will go a long distance. I'm not saying that people with low energy will not go up in life, but these kids are a sure shot, whoever it is, wherever they are.
Okay, good. Now, moving from the naughty Chandra to the college where you really got to test your skills, you got to know that, oh, am I going in the right direction? Am I at the right place? Is my thought process or my future is in the right place? So, what happened in college? And how did you choose that stream? Because nowadays, a lot of children are very confused. They need counseling. They don't feel that they're in the right stream. Those days we didn't have these options which we have today, but we did have options and choices to make. So how did that phase
Well,
happen?
I want to take a step back here, and I want to first of all congratulate you for this Passion Talk series, what you're doing, because this is the need of the hour. As an educator, as a person who's in the sector for a long time, I'm telling you that this guidance and this support and this vent is what is required, because you don't know which spark gets lit up by what word or what comment or what experience somebody shares. And I see that you are bringing people from different walks of life, and I think that's a fantastic service what you're doing to the current generation and the next generation. So well done on that.
Thank you, Chandra.
Kanchan, coming back to the question about the college and how I chose my kind of segment as to where I want to work or where I want to study, I think I want to tell you the truth, and I want to go back and tell you the real turning point in my life. Normally, parents talk about grade 7 as a turning point, grade 10 as a turning point, grade 12 as a turning point. And by the time people come to 12, kids are either fed up because every time the mother or the father tells them in grade 10 or earlier in grade 7 that this 1 year you study well, you are going to become better. 1 year of hard work and your future is set. 1 year of efforts and your life is set. But when the child hears that for the 12th, at the 12th standard for the third time, the child is fed up. He or she will be like, every time there is a turning point, I don't know how many times I got to turn in my life, right? But similar thing happened to me. By the time I came to 10th, my parents of course, the middle class biggest investment is education. So they said, study hard, study well, score well. And I did do that. As a matter of pride, if you go to my school, math topper, 96 out of 100, my name is there in the principal's cabin even to this day. Okay. But I'm not saying that with pride here or with kind of arrogance, but I have a story to tell you. When I actually scored 96 out of 100, I had grown headstrong. I was like, I am superb and I'm like the best, and all those feelings a teenage boy will get for having got his name on the principal's room and all that. Now, that arrogance made me talk to my dad and ask him that I need a bike. Okay. And my dad, out of his own innocence or love for me, whatever, he promised me that, okay, you scored well and I will get you a bike. For whatever reason, he thought in his mind, bike meant a TVS ungeared bike. Okay. But for me, in my mind, bike meant a Suzuki Shogun, the fastest moving bike at that point in time in 1996 in India. Okay. So I was like, no, I'm not going to pick up a TVS Champ or TVS 50. I need a Suzuki Shogun. And I remember very vividly that at that point of time, Suzuki Shogun was around 50,000 rupees. Okay, it was 50,000 costing, and TVS would have costed around 15,000 rupees. It was a big money for dad. I don't know how he managed it, because I threw all tantrums, because it was like I felt betrayed. So he said bike, I said bike, and there was a communication gap or whatever confusion. But finally, I wanted the bike I wanted. So I kind of created hell at home. And finally, 6, 7 months down the line, I got it. That means mid of my 11th grade, pre-university college, I got my bike. Now that was a real turning point, because I got what I wanted. World was under my feet, and I was loafing all over Bangalore city without even paying attention to my career. Okay. The next 1.5 years, that is half of 11th and the remaining 1 year of 12th, nobody bothered about my future, because I was the least interested in my career. I was arrogant. I was not listening to anybody. People discounted me as a teenage tantrum or whatever it is. And finally, reality struck. And when reality struck me, I had failed in my maths in 12th grade. My final exam results came and I had failed in my 12th grade. I have told this many times in the past in many forums, but I want to tell this again using this, because I feel this is the best place where I can speak about, is when I failed, I had no face to look into my father's face. I had no eyes. I could not give him eye contact. I was ashamed of myself. You can imagine, I existed in that house for 6 months to 1 year, escaping my father. Like when dad goes out to work, I used to come out to the living room. When dad comes back home, I used to hide myself in the room. And those days, we never had a dedicated room. I used to share my room with my grandmother. So I used to go and sit there. And old people, grandparents, it's like a tape recorder, right? They keep repeating whatever they have to say. Like, if you would have studied well, you could have not hidden in the room. You should have gone out. You should spend time with your dad. Go and ask sorry. He's after all your dad and all that. But it kind of weighed me down. That got me to another place, and that was, I had my cousin as an example. My cousin, incidentally, my elder cousin, he had failed in his 12th grade 3 years ago. The gap between us is around 3 years. So 3 years ago, he actually had failed. And then he picked up business management or business administration as his next choice. And then he went soon after he cleared his. So for me, it was like history repeating. So the minute he did that and he was able to enjoy, and I saw him enjoying what he wanted to do and I also wanted to do, it kind of gave me a segue saying that, okay, I'm going to do this because I like what he's doing and I want to enjoy my days every day post which, because that was a traumatic time. Then I cleared and I wanted to do my BBA or BBM, and I enrolled for that. And then the rest was history. But that phase was very, very critical. Now, my reason for sharing this story with you is, see, things will turn around from good to worse anytime and from worse to good any other time. Okay, it does not take time for time to change, but you got to stick to your heart, you got to listen to your heart, you got to stick true to your true self. I know that that trauma what I went through, I don't want to wish for anybody, but because I held myself, giving up, ending the life, or running away, or blaming somebody, these things should not happen. These things should not happen. So that's my message to the people who are watching, especially the teens. You will fail. I'm not saying, or I'm not wishing that you should fail, but you will fail in one way or the other. Whenever you fail, quitting is not an option. Running away is not an option. Or ending your life or whatever is not an option. That is what I would like to tell.
Thank you, Chandra. I never knew that you literally failed. So literal meaning of failing in an examination and getting into an industry and surpassing that, you know, you know, it's very hard to, accept it in front of live audience or anybody that, I did mistake. But I really like the way that you really shaped up saying that how that mistake transformed you. How did you take, or what were the learnings you took from that incident? So really, how would you define passion, Chandra? What is passion for you?
I think I don't have to define anything fresh for people. It's already well defined, and I want to repeat that. Passion is something which you will do even when nobody is interested to pay you anything. I mean, not everything is done for money. Passion is that where you can monetize passion. I'm not even getting there. But before going there, you will do that because you want to do. It's as simple as, I mean, eating. You want to eat and you eat and you eat passionately, whatever it is. It may be a dessert or it may be ice cream or it may be something spicy, which you have that kind of a palate, whatever it is. You do it because you want to do it. That's passion. In fact, these days we pay money and eat what we want. I mean, those days are gone where you cook and eat, or parents used to serve. You order a Zomato or a Swiggy, and then you get what you want, and that is something. I think there is a fine element of passion there. So, if I have to define it, you will end up doing it no matter what. No matter what. That is passion. Now, later, you can always monetize your passion. And I'm sure we will discuss that if time permits. But then, to me, passion is you and your identity.
Thank you. That really connects. There are times that people push you to do something, and there are times where you don't take any excuse and you continue doing it. So very well expressed here. Now, moving from school to college and now getting into an IIM where people dream making it, the biggest tag if you're a management student, and when you have IIM as a batch, that makes you class apart. So how was your first phase of IIM, and how you thought IIM was? And when you literally went there, you experienced IIM, what were the transformational changes you went through? How IIM made you the Chandra you are today?
Well, I think, frankly speaking, I had no clue about IIM till I entered BBA. Okay. So I did not know about IIM and anything existed when I was going into my business management. But it was in my first year of business management at the college where we had a counseling or a orientation session into what next after 3 years of graduation. And that's where these words like Indian Institute of Management and other things came up, and they ranked all the institutes saying that these are the 6 or 8 institutions where you need to get up. Then XLRI was there, and ISB was relatively very, very new. I think ISB was just getting set up or even not even there at that point of time. It was 2003 ISB came into picture. But then these are the institutions which came into the conversations when we were there. XLRI was there, and Narsi Monji was there. Then there was this Times School at Delhi for advertising. then Mudra, Mica Institute of Communications from Ahmedabad. These were the institutions. So I said, okay, why not? Let me look at what it takes to get there. And then when I kind of looked into it, then it had an entrance test, all those things. But that's not the story I want to tell you. That's when I actually kind of refocused my career ambition, saying, okay, if I am in this line of business management, then what next? I need to be a master's in business administration, a post graduation, and all that. So I kind of shortlisted to study masters, irrespective of whichever IIM it was, but at that point in time, but I didn't go because there was another version which came around in the college where they said that soon after graduation, it's always better you have at least 3 to 5 years of work experience before you get into an MBA. So I said, okay, why not? Let me do this because I was in any way no hurry to get into my MBA. So let's do it. So these were the combinations which kind of pushed me towards considering a postgraduate management education. Now, fast forward, I ended up being an IIM at Lucknow. Okay. Now, as you asked me, what was your transformation at IIM? It was at IIM I learned that whatever way we were learning was wrong. I'll give you an example. If you are notorious, if you are kind of hyperactive in an IIM class, you know what the professor is going to do? He's going to toss you a book of 400 pages or 350 pages and ask you to submit the book review next day morning at 10 a.m. in the class.
Oh, wow.
That's it. No punishment, no sending you out of the classroom, nothing. If the professor thinks you are over smart, he's going to toss a 350 to 400 page book at you and ask you to submit a book review next day morning. Okay. Now, there are no excuses. I mean, you can think of any creative excuse, it doesn't work. You got to be there, you got to present it. That's it. Okay. Now, that is where I learned that the way we learned was wrong. What they're basically trying to tell you is you got to capture the essence of it and then present it to the class, and the effort is more important than the result. They are trying to prepare you for giving your best. That was my transformation. My learning was I was looking at what is the best result I can get before even giving the best effort. Okay. So the learning for me was give your best effort, result will take care of itself. I mean, today I can talk about it by connecting it to Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita. I can say, "Aap karam karo, phal ka chinta mat karo." It will come. I mean, do your best, and the rest is left to God or the Almighty or Supreme Power. But then that realization happened to me at an IIM. Okay. So, and we had our share of fun. I mean, all of us have stories. You also have your stories of your post-graduation college. Yes, we all went out at 2 a.m. in the morning and to the fellow, and Lucknow can be very, very chilly in winters and December, November 8 time. We wake that guy up, ask him to cook Maggie for us or make chai for us because we are reading and you feel hungry around 1:30, 2 o'clock. You need something and you need something warm and hot. You can't settle down for a packet of biscuits or some chips and other things. But that fun keeping apart, we had this learning. So I think it was great. I still remember one more incident. I'll stop at that. It was another learning in my HR class or strategic HR class where they presented to us bundles of plain white sheets. Okay, plain white sheets were given. My professor comes in and he says, class, today we have a interesting assignment. I want you to do SWOT analysis, SWOT, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, SWOT analysis of US President Barack Obama. Okay. And then he leaves. He says, you have 45 minutes to do that. You can use as many papers you want. Feel free to empty the bundle. We were a class of 45, 50 people, and we started writing 45 minutes. I think I took around 14 pages or 15 pages, and I wrote all of those things. And then the attender comes. The professor doesn't come at the end of 45th minute. The attender comes and says, "Okay, stop writing. You can deposit all your papers here." One by one, we went and deposited. And he said, "Professor has given you another assignment." Okay. And now, interesting, this assignment is do a SWOT analysis of yourself. Okay. And then he says, use as many papers as possible. He brought another 2 bundles and kept it there. And he says, this time you have 1 hour. 15 minutes more because you are already tired writing 45 minutes. So we started writing. For Barack Obama, my count for papers were 14 pages. For myself, I had hardly finished 3 pages or 4 pages. Okay. And then the professor comes and says, he didn't even read. After 1 hour, he comes back and says, okay, so what is the average? So average means he was asking what is the average number of papers the class has used.
Correct.
So I think average was around 6.5. So he says for Barack Obama, what is the average? Average was I think around 14 or 15, around that or more than that. So he says, I gave you time to analyze yourself and you cannot do that. But to analyze some third person whom you don't even know, you can waste 14 pages. I think that was a big lesson that day for me, that you need to know yourself first and then start looking at people outside rather than passing all kinds of comments, opinions, and comparisons before even thinking or knowing what they're actually going through. So
That's
these are
big
two
one.
examples.
That's a big one. So, it's very easy to see somebody's life and comment, but we don't know what somebody is going through. And all that glitters is not gold. So, as you said, Barack Obama, you just saw a life, never met, never know him personally, never no connects. You could write 14 because that was your perception of him. But you, who you are living your life for, and you know yourself in and out, and there comes that, unmasking yourself. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that was a great
So
learning.
these two examples, I think, will sum up my journey in IIM.
Great. So fast forward, we went through Chandra's toddler's days, teenage, school, Bangalore days, college, the bike experience, the failures, and then success to IIM. What happens next, Chandra?
I mean, life was happening. I mean, these things were all going on one track, but then the other track, life was happening. By then, I had already started working. I set up the university at Jain Group for Raipur,
I
Math.
would stop you here. How did Jain Group happen in your life?
That itself is a miracle. I mean, I owe that to the chairman, Dr. Raichan Chenraj. But I mean, I graduated there. I did my business management there. And right from my second year of my business management, I was kind of drawn to that man because very simple, very, very forthcoming, very, very enterprising. And the best thing about him is he has very, very sharp memory. I mean, I'm not exaggerating here. Those who know him can vouch for this. Till recently, I mean, till smartphones came into picture, and even after smartphones came, he never had a single number in his phone book. He used to remember all the 10 digits of everybody's phone numbers and he used to dial them. He didn't even, I mean, people thought he doesn't know to use a smartphone. He knows that he can save it, but he will open the keypad and he will dial all the 10 digits and he will talk to people. That's his memory. Okay. I've never seen him use a computer. I've never seen him use a desktop or an email. But he has everything. His office, they will take care of it. It's not that he's uneducated or whatever, but then his mind is so sharp. Okay. I think if I'm right, in 2000, 2001, 2002, we were 4,000 students studying in that college. And I can tell you easily, he will remember everybody's names. Everybody's names.
Oh,
Every student's name
wow.
he used to remember, and he can call people, pinpointing at them in a crowd of morning assembly and say, "Come here, Kanchan. Come here, Chandru. Suresh, come here." And he will talk to them with their backgrounds. Like he knows what my dad is into, where I come from, what is my background. That's the personal touch. So when I saw that, and when I actually kind of got to work with him as an intern in his office, it kind of drew me into it. As a young man, I was attracted to him in terms of the work ethics he had and the passion with which he was running. And another thing which attracted to me was everything he said he used to do. He told us in the first year of BBM that he's going to start a free school, and by the end of second year, he had started a Jain Vidyaniketan with 1 rupee fees per year.
Wow.
So that was for me, person who is walking the talk.
Yeah.
So long story short, that's how I got into Jain Group, where he said, set up a university for me because you were already involved. I was already involved working with him in Bangalore for a business school set up in JP Nagar. That's when I got into Jain Group as an intern again. I continued to be there for 3 months because my project was 3 to 6 months. I'll work till I get at a job in, I mean, not a job. I had already got my campus job at HP, Hewlett Packard, and also Thomson Reuters. These were the two offers I had. But since I was just passing out, the placements happened in the month of April, and they told me to report by August, September. So that's when my chairman said, anyway, you have this period of 4 months or 5 months. Why don't you go to Raipur and set up the university marketing and all that? That's how I went. That 3, 4 months became 20 years. Now, this is my 20th year.
My God, 2 decades.
Yeah.
2 decades, and a person who never saw a corporate world, didn't know anything, learned whatever you learned in your college and by learning from your leaders. So do you think peer-to-peer learning works more than somebody giving you a session, or what is
Yeah,
your take on that?
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. It's not just only peer to peer, Kanchan. I want to expand that boundary to say real life learning, hands on learning. I
Mhm.
mean, you can learn from the watchman, from the security guard, you can learn from the driver, you can
Mhm.
learn a lot from people who work under you, if you want to use the word under you, who report to you. Okay, you can learn from anybody. So I call that as real life learning. And lot of real life learning has happened in my life, and today that's the reason whatever I am today is because of course I did study and I did read, but that's all theory. But when you see theory in action, you need to keep your eyes and mind open in the real world.
Very, very well said, Chandra. Really, really inspiring to see that. A time ago, you mentioned that one school with 1 rupee fees. Now, when we talk about 1 rupee to one school, to the many schools I have visited, what is the number of 10 international schools you look up to, or you cater to, or how has the growth been from one school to many schools, the chain of schools?
Well, I think, as I said, that is we call it as an opportunity school for people from rural India, especially rural Karnataka. They come and they study there. It's the vision of Dr. Chandra, the founder chairman of Jain Group. It is still running. I think the campus capacity is around 2,500 students right now, and 2,500 students are there who get educated from grade nursery to grade 12. But that is Jain Vidyaniketan. But just a couple of years later, chairman started Jain International Residential School, which is a very, very reputed school in Bangalore. And all of, I think 64 country students come and study there. That's the reputation, Asia's fifth largest and fifth rated school there. That is JIRS, Jain International Residential School. Keeping these two apart, from then, that is 2005 onwards, the real growth journey of school started, where 2005, the first school came up in Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, and then it came into Nagpur and Kanpur and Hyderabad and different parts of the country. As on today, we are 28 schools across 4 or 5 states, and maybe another 47, 50 odd institutions of higher education, that is your junior college, your graduation college, and 3 universities. So total, I think the number tally is at 89 institutions.
Wow, Chandra, that's huge, and I wish you a century soon so that we can celebrate the 100th institute very soon. So,
Thank you.
in turn to a CEO journey, what did you keep learning and how did you transform? I have never seen interns becoming CEO. There could be, I would say, to count on tips of finger, not even 0.1%. A same organization, you join as an intern, and for years you have been a CEO. How did that miracle happen?
Well, I think, yeah, you use the right word. It is a miracle indeed. And I'm really, really happy to accept that I was lucky. I was very, very well taken care of by people who worked with me or who I worked with. And I think almost everybody taught me something, either what not to do or either how it is to be done. So, from my first, I can say, boss till date, I have always been very, very happy and grateful about learnings in life. And of course, I have done my mistakes. I cannot say that I'm perfect, and nobody will even accept that. The truth is, every mistake was well accepted by people because they saw the intention behind the mistake. If it was done deliberately, I was reprimanded, but I don't think I remember doing anything deliberately to commit a mistake. But they knew that okay, he must have tried hard, he did his best, but something it did not work out, so let's leave it at that. So that's the way I have grown up. But if you want to take some concrete takeaways, I can give you a couple of them. One was, you know, my experience, first experience, I'll tell you, as an intern, I was supposed to fill up the application form for Mats University. Now, I am from Karnataka, Bangalore. I've told that. I'm not very comfortable or very exposed to Hindi. Uh, Talking and listening, I can still manage because of Bollywood. But then, writing and filling up an application form in Hindi, I was not at all confident. Now, what happened was that was my first assignment. They said, okay, you need to get a Gazette notification done for the university. So go and fill the application form in the Department of Education. Now, when I went into Mantralaya at Raipur, the boss, the secretary education, SK Dhand, I still remember, he just stopped me at the door and said, get out. I don't talk to kids. I don't talk to kids. He said this in a hoarse voice in Hindi. He said, get out. And I don't know what to do. My battle is over even before it began. Okay. Then I went to the public booth there. Those were not the days of mobile phones. So I went to the public booth. I waited for my turn. I picked up the phone. I called my chairman. He's in Bangalore. I tell him this happened. And instead of helping me or empathizing with me or supporting me, he's laughing at me. Okay. On the other side, he's laughing at me. And I'm feeling humiliated here that I'm telling him my pain and he's laughing. Okay,
Yeah.
so I said, sir, you don't understand. He's not allowing me to come into his office. And chairman on the other side says, Chandru, what have you studied? I said, is this the time to do my interview now? You're given me a task and now you're asking me for an interview. He's like, no, no, tell me what have you studied? So I said, you know it, I'm BBM graduate. He said, how many years? So I said, it's around 15, 16 years because you take 10 standard plus 2 years of pre-university and then 3 years, it's around 15 years, 16 years of education. Because in my case, I failed one. So 16 years. So I told 16 years. So he says, then you're double as qualified as I am, and you can't even start one institution with half qualified as you are. I'm running 17 institutions. This was his reply.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
because my chairman is a 8th standard dropout.
Hmm.
My chairman is a 8th standard dropout. So you count 1 to 8 is 8 years of education. BBA, for me, it is 16 years of education. So he is half and I am twice is this thing. He says, with half your qualification, I'm running 17 institutions. With double my qualification, you can't even start one. Now, long story short, I came back. I did not get a solution as to how do I enter Dhan's office, but I went, I stopped, I waited for him to come out. I stopped him at the door. I told, there is nobody above me here. You got to help me. And I don't know what he saw in me, maybe my courage or my perseverance. He helped me in the next 2 weeks. I filled up the application form, and then today Max University is running. 7,000 students are studying over there. That's a different story. Now, my lesson there was I was never allowed to give up.
Hmm.
So if you ask me from intern to CEO,
Correct.
how is that happening or how did it happen is because I never gave up.
There was no
Because,
scope of not doing it.
yeah, there's
There was
nothing
no
like
options.
I don't have that. Even in elections today, you can say none of the above.
Nota.
But I don't have that option.
Hmm. Correct.
So I mean, actually, if I look back today, I can tell you honestly that that was the best thing to happen. That not having an option of quitting is the best thing.
To sail through.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go through it. No matter what happens, you need to go through it and you need to survive. So that was my biggest lesson, that you cannot say no. You cannot. And that transformed over the period of time that,
Mhm.
okay, when I have no option, when I don't have an option, why should I give people who work with me an option?
Yeah.
So
What
I
I got through, I will let people also feel the
yeah.
learning.
So I stopped giving that option to people. I said nothing doing. No is not an option. I can't take no for an answer.
Mhm.
And then magic happened
Okay.
because nobody started. When everybody started coming to me saying, "Okay, we can do this." Nobody started saying we can't do this.
Correct. Yeah.
That's how it really happened.
Chandra, now to take you to test, it was great learning till here. Now I know you only because of Toastmasters. And to give you a table topic, what was your Toastmasters journey in 2 minutes? So we are at 7:45. Let's have a table topic. Toastmaster Chandra, your Toastmasters journey, your Toastmasters journey, Toastmaster Chandra.
Thank you so much for this topic, and I think it's a good segue for me to talk about Toastmasters amidst my professional journey. Toastmasters to me happened, I think, in 2011, 2012, and it started as a speechcraft. Speechcraft, for those of you who are not aware, is a 8-week crash course which keeps you ready for public speaking. So I enrolled myself as a speech crafter, and I did not complete it. I was there for almost 3 or 4 weeks, and because of my travel, I could not complete the speech craft. That's how I was introduced to the world of Toastmasters after 10 years having heard about Toastmasters. In my college days, we had Toastmasters, but I never bothered to be a part of it. So that's one part of it. Now, coming next, my journey from there was okay, I got into the club, went on to the speech contest, giving speeches, winning, losing, then came into the leadership journey. Became the president of the club, then immediately, I don't know what people saw, but then they thought I am capable to become a division director, went on to division directorship, from division directorship to the LGM, Lieutenant Governor Marketing, then today's club growth director, and then program quality director and district director, and then the past district director. So that's the journey in the last 10 years now. Well, it's 10 years actually, 2011, 2012, and 2021, 2022. But in 10 years, this is the journey. But the biggest learning, if I may sum up, is Toastmaster taught me to influence people and get work done rather than instructing people and getting work. That's my takeaway from Toastmasters.
And that's precisely 2 minutes. So good job. Now, Chandra, I met you through Toastmasters. There are various other leaders who look up to you as a mentor, as a coach, as a go-getter, as a person who can give you no options, right? A little push. That's all you do. You say, this is the option you have come through and you have to do it. How do you do it is your way. And that's how really you bring out people to answer their own queries, to get to their own solutions. So I have seen a lot of people reaching out to you. How has your mentoring journey for others and CSK, which came very recently and is very good way of connecting? I've seen you that you connect with all the age groups. So I've seen you connecting with toddlers. I see you connecting with teenagers. I see you connecting with people who are going into their college age. I see you mentoring a lot of teachers because you get to see a lot of stuff and I've seen them grow. So there are a lot of examples I can keep on my fingers, but I would say they will go less. How has been your coaching and mentoring journey?
Well, I think it is fantastic. I can say that. In fact, coaching started actively for me in the pandemic times where I had a little bit more free time on my hand thanks to the physical schools being shut and travel being reduced or almost restricted. So I was able to spend more time with connecting with people. Thanks to my CII and Young Indians network, and thanks to my work with the startup industry, there were a lot of these entrepreneurs who kind of came in contact and wanted to get their game better. So coaching really happened at that point, and I can say today almost 40 to 80 hours I spend in a week coaching people. So that's the kind of timeline I have. It is definitely demanding, but I enjoy it. I don't consciously load up every day, so I can still spend some time talking to people. But the coaching journey, if I have to go back to the origin, started during the Toastmaster days because you mentor, as you already know, and those of you who are watching, there is a mentor and a mentee relationship, which is kind of nurtured in Toastmasters. Now, the beauty of mentor and mentee relationship or mentoring is it's a two-way street. You get to teach or you get to share, but at the same time, you get to learn. Extend that into a more specific context is coaching, where you not only talk to them about what you want to give, but you also help them clarify their beliefs, where you listen to them, you process it, you analyze it, you put it in a framework, you help them, and then you are more of an accountability partner. You try to ask them those little nudge questions where they start reflecting and introspecting about it. So that's about my coaching. So today, if I have to sum it up, there are people who are school owners, who run institutions and colleges, who come to me. There are entrepreneurs, as I said, startup founders and startup ecosystem people who come to me and I work with them. There are also these industry specific people, like some from the fintech or the ed tech industry, who try to come and look at it from the business perspective as to where the sector is shifting and how can we move there. These are my commercial coaching. But when it comes to pro bono coaching, is communication skills, leadership skills, or maybe negotiations and crisis management, these kind of conflict management. Because I am kind of infamous in Toastmasters district training, district officers training for conflict management. I think for the last 6 years, I've been doing the conflict management session in every DOTP.
Yeah, so the World DOTP is District Officers Training Program. So all the officers who are in Toastmasters, who are elected by Toastmasters, need to get trained to qualify their journey. And Chandra is always there to help. I have seen him in nearly all the trainings from last 6 years, and I vouch for it that you should, all the Toastmasters, if you get a chance to attend this session, whenever he's taking, you should really, really go forward to. Chandra, we spoke about family, we spoke about your school life, college life, your intern to a CEO journey. We spoke about how you take time for coaching. Now let's talk about that small circle of friends who has been with, I would say, who has been your biggest support system whenever you need.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that friend circle, because people think, quantity. I have like 10,000 friends. I have 3,000 friends on Facebook. But when we really need, one is more than enough. So can you talk about those friends who have been there with you?
No, absolutely. I mean, I agree to your point that it's not about the number. It's about the people who are connected with you and who you like to spend time with. And I can say friendship is such a great relationship where you can be vulnerable. You can be vulnerable to them, and there is no conditions there or there is no transactions there. So, talking about my life, I will start with saying that I've been very, very fortunate to have steady friends. I will not say that fair weather friends or bad weather friends, but they're steady. No matter where I am, no matter how I am, no matter what I am doing, they are always there for me. I mean, we don't meet so often. I'm not a very, very social kind of a person. Okay. In Toastmasters, people think Chandra is quite flamboyant and Chandra is quite this, but I don't know why that image was made or has become. But I mean, I have no regrets about it. But the point is, I'm not a very social person. That means I don't go out every Friday or every Saturday or every Sunday, weekends, and no. In fact, half the time, every weekend, I'm traveling or I'm working. So it's not about me socializing. I have nothing against it, but I'm not that kind of a person. In fact, the only conference or place I would have danced in my previous last 10 years was a Toastmasters conference. Otherwise, in any other social gatherings, I don't dance. In fact, I had to take classes for dancing for my own wedding. So that was what is my this thing. So friends have always been there. My friends have always been there. I don't want to name anybody here for the sake of privacy, and again, I'm not comfortable there, but they're there, and I always lean on them. I kind of lean on them for their strength, for their support, for that thing. And I also try to be available for them as much as I can. So my school set of friends, I have been into, we are like, our WhatsApp group is called Gang. So those 4, 6 people, we are there. We are connected even today. One is in US, another one is in, I think, Australia, one is in China. Then I am here. Then a couple of more are in Bangalore. So that's how we are. Then college, of course, it's a different thing. By then we had technology, so all of us are connected, and we were there on LinkedIn and all that. Then even in Toastmasters and workplace. But as a matter of conscious choice, I don't make any friends in my workspace, because the place I am coming from and where I sit, I cannot afford to have complacency. Of course, I have relationship with everybody. They are all my family. We call ourselves JGI family, but I don't call them or count on them as friends. But then there are friends outside that who are very, very associated with me. And let me give you this. When you are looking at friends, friends need not be of your same age. I have a friend who is 61. I call him friend even to this day, or 62. I don't know, because COVID, I lost contact and count of the number of years. But then he should be in his 60s, early 60s. I I have him as my friend, and I count him as my friend. He counts me as his friend. The difference between us, I think, is 20 to 25 years gap. But we share everything. We share everything, right from the latest Netflix series I am watching to some stupid prank call he got for a bank scam or a ATM scam or whatever it is. We share everything. So the point here is, it doesn't have to be the same age group. It doesn't have it. If it is good. If it is not, it is still good. There's nothing like that. So I'm very, very happy that these kind of friends, and 99% of those friends have always stayed with me for, I think, as I said, from childhood. So that's my friendship.
Thank you for sharing that. I would give you a tough time here with the T's. You said you travel a lot, and then you're very good with time management. How do you play this tough tag war of time management and travel?
No, but actually, I'll tell you, those who can travel, or rather, those who travel have more time on their hand. The reason is,
I agree. The
you get
flights,
you
the
get to spend
cities.
a lot of time with yourself, which means you get to do a lot of things which you kind of procrastinate.
So, do you agree, Chandra, that travel changes you as a person?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, thanks to COVID, I am not traveling as much as I used to. But if you look at 2015, 2016 to 2020, I was traveling 18 days a month. 18 days a month.
I have witnessed you on the training first day that you traveled in a day 3 cities
Yes.
through 3 different states, and you were still giving a speech for an hour where you were talking to people, interacting with the same energy. Where you said, "I've just got down from Bangalore. I've come to Pune. I have to go to some city," and I was like, "Okay." And that energy and enthusiasm, I was like, really, really.
Travel definitely gives you a dipstick about your true nature, your character, your capacity to resist and still take care of your priorities, health, people, relations, everything. So if you can travel, you can win the world.
Thank you, Chandra. I know the conversation is going really great, but my clock is ticking as well. 5 takeaways of your journey of life, Chandra. So 5 takeaways for the world to know that Chandra in the last X years have these learnings for all of you.
Well, I think the first thing I would like, I don't want to give it in an order, but I'll tell you as I recollect.
Sure.
First thing is, no is not an option. Okay,
Great.
keep that as a cornerstone of your life. No is never and not an option.
Mhm.
Number two, don't lie. Never lie. Because if you
Is that
lie,
to yourself or is to the world?
no, it's to the world. Don't lie, because even if you lie, the victory will not taste sweet.
Mhm.
That's the problem. I mean, I personally have experienced this. You will get that, whatever it is, you will get it into your hand or in your life, but you don't enjoy it. Then why do you need it?
Mhm.
Never ever go for lying. And lying can be substituted with shortcuts or with cheating or with
Any
fraud.
sort of
I'm
it.
not saying you're all fraudsters. I'm not calling you anybody. Please pardon me. What I'm trying to tell you is, even to tell something to myself and not stand by it is a lie. Like, for example, if I say, Kanchan, I'll turn up at 7 o'clock and I don't turn up, and I can give her any reason. Okay. But that is not right. That is not, unless and until it is unavoidable. So never ever go into that kind of a shortcut thing. Third, most important is integrity. You be very, very honest about your effort. Integrity of effort, not the result. When you are giving something, you give your 100% best. Forget about the result. Nothing is perfect in this world. Even the whole universe is not perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, so there is nothing called perfection, but you give your best effort. That is the third thing. Fourth, take care of your health. I have understood this, and I'm not regretting. I've always been conscious about my health. I've been traveling. My weight has never gone beyond. I managed, but I'm not fit to the extent I wanted to be. I am trying, but I take these two people's words. Steve Jobs, he said, and I repeat, he said when he died 57 or 56, close to 60 or whatever he died, he said, I made a wrong investment. I could have invested in health, in my own health. Fast forward, Rakesh Junjunwala. He said, I made a wrong investment. I invested in money, but I lost my health. I should have invested in my health. I would have still got my money.
Yeah.
Okay, so never ever neglect your health. That's the thing. I think what 3 or 4 I
Fifth
have told.
one. This is the fifth
Four.
one.
Fifth one, meet people, interact with people because life teaches you. As I said at the beginning, it is not about books, it is not about training sessions, it is not about some certifications or education. It is about real life learning. Meet people as much as possible. COVID has pushed us online. Come out now. Come out. Get into meeting people, attend meetings, attend conferences, attend social gatherings, attend networking events, read 20 pages a day. Please read, but expand your horizon. You don't know which idea will come, which idea will strike to you, when and how you connect. Please try to keep learning and try to keep meeting people because life teaches you a lot of lessons.
Thank you so much, Chandra. That's 1 hour from your precious, valuable time. And I am indebted for life for you agreeing to whatever I ask for. So, for my mentorship journey, if I am lost in an island, if I'm lost in my life, or when I really need some concern and I call, and if that call is not answered, I get a message that, I'll call you back. And you ensure that you do. So thank you for shaping me to the person I have become, Chandra. Toastmaster, I owe my life, and I owe it to you as well because you were the person I saw through Toastmasters. The right leadership, which was portrayed through you, really keeps life apart. And every time I interact with you, I learn so much that I can thank you for what you have done to me. So thank you, Chandra. I feel blessed to interact with you today and to the world. How passion can transform and in turn to a CEO is a life example here. How passion can give back as a person who was ready to learn from his own mistakes, to coach and mentor to the world leaders across. So thank you, Chandra, for being that person where we look up to learn from all of you. And I have witnessed the JGI family love through being to Aurangabad School and the Young Orators program and all the opportunities I get. So thank you for shaping me in the person I have become. And thank you to show the world that passion is all you need if you really want to live a life. So I would like to
Thank
give
you.
you
Thank you
to
so much. I mean, I have said this before. I'll tell you again. You are doing a fantastic job. Keep doing. This is the need of the hour. How many hour episodes you can carry on? Carry on. If you have to take breaks, but don't stop because no is not an option. No is not an option. Keep going because the world needs this. The world needs this. And I will recommend all my students and staff members to hook onto your YouTube or your Zoom channel or wherever it is to catch up the previous episodes, and the future episodes, because this is very important. What you discussed today with me, I'm not saying because I was there online, but this is very important that people learn from others' journey. This is exactly what I said. You meet people, interact with them, because everybody's learning, everybody's journey is a lesson, is a
true.
lesson. We don't have to repeat it to learn. We can learn from others and again grow forward in life. So well done, Kanchan. Thank you so much for this, and I'm extremely delighted to be there. And needless to say, I'm always there for you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chandra, for being here. And I, as your host, felt privileged. To all the people who were watching him through Facebook and the people who will see him in live on YouTube and the video series we do, this is Passion Talk, where I promise to bring you one passionate leader who has transformed lives of others through his passion. And this was the fifth episode. Keep tuning to our YouTube channel, which is Passion Talks with Kanchan Sonik, because here you get an opportunity to listen to an international leader in an hour how the life has been. And those learnings can change lives of many. So tune in to us, Passion Talks with Kanchan Sonik, next month again, because you would get to see a wonderful leader who is very passionate. And to all of you, passion is something you do when you really enjoy it. So to all the passionate people on the world around, and thank you for being around, Chandra. I really appreciate your time and thank you for being here with us. That's my 1 hour, everybody. Thank you. Tune in next month to see more. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Chandra.